My daughter Daisy was practicing for her regional spelling bee happening tomorrow when her stepmother accidentally spilled coffee all over her dictionary. Daisy began crying, and her stepmom swore it was an accident, but she was smirking, and when I looked over, her daughter Rachel was studying with her own dictionary. She was competing too. The next morning before the spelling bee, Daisy told me, "She ruined my dictionary, Dad. I don't know if I can spell these words." But I wiped her tears and told her she's been practicing for months. She's got this. She nodded and ran on stage. My wife was already in the front, arms crossed with a smug grin staring right at Daisy. The bee started, and Daisy's hands shook, but when the judge gave her pterodactyl, she nailed it. Her stepmom was still smirking, and when Rachel spelled her word right, she cheered loudly. But then Daisy spelled comeuppance, platypus, and androgynous perfectly. I could see her gaining confidence with every word. Her stepmom's face was also now twisted, as her plan to sabotage Daisy wasn't working, but she had a trick up her sleeve. When there were 10 kids left, including both Daisy and Rachel, Daisy got the word hypothalamus. She sounded HY, and that's when her stepmom coughed loudly. Daisy jolted back, clearly startled, and almost messed up. She continued spelling, and her stepmom coughed again, even louder. It was a clear attempt at sabotage. Daisy looked at me for support, so I said loudly, "Can we please show respect? This is a spelling bee, not a football final." The crowd turned to my wife, and she shrank back in her seat, angry because I'd embarrassed her. Daisy spelt hypothalamus and smiled at me, but my wife wasn't done. After Rachel got her word right and it was Daisy's turn, she sat directly in front of Daisy and started mouthing incorrect letters at her. Daisy ignored her and spelled it right anyway. My wife got more desperate and mouthed bigger, throwing in hand gestures like she was trying to telepathically sabotage Daisy, but Daisy didn't even blink, and I was struggling to hold in my laughter. By the time the round ended, it was down to just Daisy and Rachel. Daisy got her word right, but then Rachel had to spell chrysanthemum. She froze as she clearly didn't know it. She spelt CHRYS, but then she stopped. She looked at her mom, panicking for help. I could see my wife sweating as she started mouthing letters at Rachel, telling her what to spell. Rachel copied her mom, trusting her completely, and said AND buzz. The judge rang the bell because Rachel's letter was wrong. My wife went bright red, frozen in her seat, as she realized she had just sabotaged her own daughter. Daisy immediately spelled chrysanthemum, and the judge announced her as spelling bee champion and handed her the trophy. My wife was already packing her things with rage, but Daisy walked back up to the microphone and said, "I have a message for my stepmom." She leaned in and said, "FUCKYOU."